Welcome to lesson 8.1. Believe it or not, we are finally starting chapter 8. It seems with the patriotic program and a few other things, we've kind of had a few interruptions in math, but I'm glad we are moving forward. We want to try to get through as much as we can before testing. Believe it or not, it is already March. It's hard to believe. Our lesson 8.1 is kind of a review, but we're comparing fractions, and it says, how do we compare numbers written in different forms, okay? And you'll see what I mean by different forms here in just a few minutes. And just remember, when we're looking at fractions, how do we compare them? What are the tricks of comparing fractions? Let's keep moving. Sorry for that yawn. Ugh, I am a little tired today. Okay, so it says complete problems 1 through 4 on Math Journal, page 248. How is each problem different? So I want you to look at journal page 248 because this will be part of your homework. But before we do that, I want you to look at this little video clip quickly on comparing fractions.
What happens if the two fractions don't have the same denominator? How can you compare them in that case? You may have guessed the answer. Just write them with a common denominator and then apply the rule. Suppose, for example, that we're asked to compare 2/7 and 1/3. We use the common denominator 21, which is 7 times 3. We note 2/7 equals 2 times 3 over 7 times 3, or 6 over 21. 1/3 equals 1 times 7 over 3 times 7, or 7 over 21. 6 is less than 7. So, 6 over 21 is less than 7 over 21. Or, returning to our original problem, 2/7 is less than 1/3. Let's look at another example. The two fractions we're comparing are 5/6 and 7/10. We'll use the common denominator 60. We get it by multiplying 6 and 10. 5/6 equals 5 times 10 over 6 times 10, or 50 over 60. 7/10 equals 7 times 6 over 10 times 6, or 42 over 60. 50 is greater than 42. So 50 over 60 is greater than 42 over 60. Or, returning to our original problem, 5/6 is greater than 7/10. Notice we didn't bother to find the least common denominator. In comparing two fractions, or for that matter in actually subtracting two fractions, it's not always worth the trouble to find the least common denominator. The denominator we get by multiplying the two given denominators does the job as well, and may be less work in the long run.
So moving on, I want you to think about what he said. Sometimes finding the least common denominator isn't always the best, but it also helps in the end with reducing. So you can decide which works best, quick common denominators or least common denominators. So it says, write greater than or less than. Be prepared to explain how you decided on each answer. So you're just going to say 3/5 and 4/5. Now remember, when we have the same denominator, it's very easy because we just look at our numerator. So please bring in 1, 2, 3, and 4 for tomorrow. That's part of your math notes. Now, if you brought home your journal, you can just write it in your journal. Otherwise, please make sure you write it in a notebook. And moving on, this is our last page or our practice, and it says, let's practice equivalent fractions using different strategies. So using different strategies, this one was like quick common denominators. So if I were to roll the dice, This is a quick common denominator. So a quick common denominator would be multiplying 6 times 3. And if I multiply 6 times 3, I know it's 18. So just like in the video that he just did, I would write 4, 6, and I apologize, my little, so just like he did in the video, so we would do 4 times 3, because that is 18. Or, I mean, that is our common denominator, so that would be 12. Okay. And then 6 times 3, which is 18, we know. So we would have 12/18. So we'll do that. And then we have 2/3. So we'll just do like this. And 3. And we would take this times 9, because that will give us 18. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I did that wrong. Whoops. 6 times what is 18? Or 3 times what is 18? I'm sorry. So 3 times 6 would be 18. So I'd multiply that by 6, and that would give me 18 down here. And I would multiply the top by 6, and that would give me 12. And what do you know? 12/18 and 12/18. So really, what do we have? We have equal fractions. Now, many of you could probably have looked at this fraction and known if you reduced 4 6, you would have gotten 2/3. And we could have eliminated a step. But we're also practicing different strategies, so it's kind of important that we're working on that. So let's go back up here. Let's shake our dice again. Numerator and denominator difference. So this one, I don't know that I want to go into too many strategies with you, but the numerator and the denominator, okay, so we have a numerator and a denominator, and if we were to find the difference between the two is 2, and the difference between here is 4, so they're saying that that can give us a good idea of which one is greater also, because there's only 2 between here and there's 4 between here, so they're telling me 4 6 is greater. So let's try their little strategy. But first, I'm going to just do the quick common denominators, because I think that one is important. And I think it's also pretty good to do that one. Now, I could do something else like 30 this time, because it didn't tell me quick common denominators. And I know 6 goes into 30, and I know 10 does. So let's do this. So 4 times 5, because 5 times 6 is 30. So that would give me 20. Oops. And I apologize, because my little airliner is not working. Sometimes that airliner of mine is more work than anything. And then so times 5 is 30. So now I have, whoops, 20/30ths. And let's see, I apologize, because this is really getting kind of icky. And so then I would do my 6/10, and it's going to kind of right over the top, I think, but we'll give it our best shot. So I know 10 times 3 is 30, so 6 times 3 is 18, correct? I'll do 3. And that gives me, oops, sorry, 3 equals 18. So I'd have 18 over 30 times 3 here. And that would give me 30. And which one is greater then? Which one do I know is greater? Well, is 18 or 20 greater? Well, 20 is greater than 18. So then I know that 4 6 is greater than 6/10. Now again, remember we've talked about that rule too, like what's half of 6? And half of 6 is 3. Well, 4 is a little bit bigger than that. And I also know that 5 is half of 6. Well, that's a little bigger too. So again, that's another strategy that you could use. Okay, so doing quick common denominators or just finding the least common denominator is how I'd like you to do the rest of these problems. So you have 6 more problems to do. You have 2/3 and 1/5, 3/4 and 7/8, 3/8 and 4/10, 1/2 and 2/3, 6/8, 3/4, 4/5, and 4/6. Now, I know some of you can look at some of them and be like, well, I know these. And that's great if you do, but I would really like you to do the strategy if you could, because that would be really helpful. And then the last 3 that you need to do are 4/8 and 2/4, 1/3 and 3/10, and 8/10 and 5/6. So there's actually 9 problems you need to bring in. You can number them 1 through 9. You can label them A, B, C, D, you know, however you want to do it. Actually, it'd be D, E, F, K, J, K, L. I'm trying to remember my alphabet here tonight. And then you would have MNO. So you can either do them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or you can do DEF, JKL, or MNO. So your choice. But please make sure you do those for your homework. Let's go back and review our objective. And our objective is how do we compare numbers written in different forms? And how do we basically compare fractions? And it was a good review for us. So please take your time. Remember, you have 4 problems to do on this page. Your 4 were just the top 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 1 should be quite easy. And then you were going to do the following 9 problems. We did the first couple together, but you were going to do the following 9 problems. So please make sure you write those down and you have them so that you can write them all down. If you want to write down greater, just greater and less than, that's fine, or you can write the problem however you want to do it. Great job of listening. Thank you very much. And remember to do your quiz. There's going to be a little like 3-point quiz again, okay? And I do want to see who's doing their quizzes, so please make sure you do it. Even if you submit it more than once, that's just fine. Have a great evening.